All right, let's bring in Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene for reaction to this unbelievable story that has been breaking last night and today. MTG, we're friends. I'm allowed to call you that. You gave me permission. The sentence is insane. We have a full screen of some of the latest ones. Tarrio getting 22 years. That guy wasn't even at the Capitol on January 6th. Biggs, 17 years. Nordine, 18 years. Rel, 15. MTG, murderers in America get less time than these guys, and they weren't violent. Did they break some windows? Okay. 22 years? We can't let this happen. Your thoughts?
Oh, you're absolutely right, Eric, and I'm purely disgusted at our government and our justice system. We don't have a justice system when someone was not even in Washington, D.C., and they're sentenced to 22 years. And again, what you said is true. Child molesters don't even get 22 years in prison when they're first convicted. And a man that lives in New York City who just pled guilty to planning to murder me, a member of Congress, was just sentenced to 3 months in prison. And guess what? He's sitting at home right now in the comfort of his own home in New York City and doesn't even have to report to prison until early August. So this is an outrage, and we need more Republican members of Congress to stand up against the injustice of the Department of Justice and these horrific judges who are abusing the power of their bench and putting these horrible, harsh sentences on these people.
It's insane, MTG, what's going on. I just cannot believe, I can't believe I'm reporting 22 years, 17 years, 18 years for these things. And as you point out, child molesters, the federal sentencing, involuntary manslaughter, 8 and 15 years maximums, and they much less. Listen to Christopher. Here's a big problem I'm having here. Christopher Wray, the head of the FBI, when asked under oath if there were assets, FBI assets at January 6th. Listen.
How many agents were actually agents or human resources were present at the Capitol complex and vicinity on January 6th?
Well, again, it's going to get confusing because it depends on when we deployed and responded to the breach that occurred. Obviously,
how many were
under federal agents?
Please don't distract here because we're focusing on those who were there in an undercover capacity on January 6th. How many were there?
Again, I'm not sure that I can give you that number as I sit here. I'm not sure there were undercover agents on scene.
And again, MTG, so here he is, FBI director, admitting that he had confidential human sources at January 6th. Meanwhile, these guys, they had to know what was going on. And now these January 6th guys are going away for 10, 15, 20, 22 years. FBI knew. I just can't believe they're trying to call this an insurrection. It's a protest. Yeah, it got out of hand, but it was a protest.
This is their right. They can protest. That's the First Amendment right for all Americans. Now, did things get out of hand? Absolutely. And you and I both and many others have always said we disagree with violence and breaking the law that day. But here's what we have to be very clear about. We have to be clear that we cannot allow the Justice Department to be weaponized in a political manner against Republicans or against their political opponents. And that is what we are seeing today in America.
That's what it is. MTG, that's exactly what it is. The DOJ, Justice Department, oversees the FBI and other agencies, the IRS and ATF. But that's where it's coming from. That's the head of the snake right there. It's Merrick Garland who is allowing and even pushing for the persecution, not the prosecution, persecution of Trump across all these venues. And in the meantime, making January 6th look like an insurrection, which it was a protest. Can you imagine dethroning the greatest country on the planet without one single firearm?
And that's what they're doing, Eric. That's exactly what they're doing. But you know how they're charging President Trump in my state of Georgia with racketeering and RICO charges? Eric, I want to make it very clear that I believe that there are many in the upper echelon of the Democrat Party and in the administration and unelected bureaucrats serving in the federal government colluding and conspiring with state DAs. And they are guilty with the very charges that Fannie Willis in my state, the Fulton County DA, is charging President Trump and others in the state of Georgia with. And this is what I want to do. I want to make sure that the Republican Party never, ever forgets because we need to be sure to come after these people when we win the White House in 2024. And I'm going to tell you something right now, Eric, we are going to win. And when we win and we take charge of the Department of Justice and the FBI, those agencies need to be gutted. They need to be gutted of the communists that are doing this to Americans and twisting the Justice Department. We need to impeach these judges that are abusing the power of their bench. And then we need to go after the real criminals in America, the ones that are destroying our freedoms and the ones that are willing to tear our country down and politicize the power of the federal government against Americans.
You know, you're speaking, you're singing the tune that every conservative in America wants to hear. We're watching this go down. The justice system is biased. That you can't live, you can't have law and order, you can't progress, you can't have a free market, you can't be American when there's 2 levels or 3 levels of justice. Marjorie Taylor Greene, thank you for being here, and please keep us up to date on what we're doing. I just want to hear more from Ray. I think you guys got to get Ray in front of the stand again and really hit him, because this 22, 17, 18, 15-year sentences, it can't stand. It's disgusting. MTG, thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric.